Today, I want to talk about empathy. Why do I want to talk about empathy today? I realized that since wanting to, like when I conceived the notion or the idea, or when I came to the realization that people are inherently selfish, people would always choose themselves and fight for themselves, even though they are the offenders or the perpetrators of whatever it is that was happening. When I realized that people do not give a hoot about you, I got a better understanding of empathy, or what it means to be an empath. And since I started standing up for myself and speaking up for myself before, because normally it would be that before I even do anything to anybody, I'm always like, oh my gosh, how would they feel? How would this thing I'm about to say to them make them feel? And throughout last year, I encountered some human beings that made me like rethink. Before you consider another person, evaluate whether they are also going to consider you too. I mean, you will not always know every time, but at least at the center of that interaction, make sure that you considered yourself first. So since standing up for myself, speaking up more, and, being visible, doing the things that I want to do, I cannot even be wicked or mean with my full chest. Because after saying the thing or after doing the thing, I then go back and then I start overthinking. I start pitying the person like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that thing to them. I shouldn't have called them out on that thing. I shouldn't have done XYZ. Because what if they are feeling a certain way? What if they feel like I was being mean to them or I was being wicked to them? And remember, if reverse was the case, it is a big rarity that they would be thinking the same thing because they don't care. But as an empath, you almost absorb people's energy. You're almost sensitive to how people feel, how people maybe somebody glances at you and you take that glance and you just break it down to the barest. It might be nothing, but because you feel a lot, you take in what other people are feeling, it becomes a thing. And you might say, oh, the reason why you feel bad that you were mean or wicked to that person is because you are selfish. Because at the heart of it is how does this person see me now? And do they like me? The main word is, do they like me? Do they still like me? Do they still, see me like they saw me before? That part is very selfish. But then at the beginning, it's oh my gosh, I hope this person is not feeling bad. And I'm just I don't want it anymore. I shouldn't be giving 2 F's about how you feel. I should not. I should just do my thing and bounce. How you feel, how it's making you feel, how it is, the thoughts it is creating in your head, the sweat that is going down your back just from the thing I did is none of my business. But guess who makes it their business? The empath. Empathy is the ability to understand, share, and feel the emotional experiences and perspectives of another person, often described as putting yourself in someone else's shoe. I do not want to be putting myself in anybody's shoes anymore. I don't want it. It stresses me. It is tiring. It defeats the whole purpose of being. I'm so sorry I used wicked and mean. I'm using that wicked and mean loosely because when I use wicked and mean, it's now the interpretation of the other person. But to me, it was me being honest, or being truthful, saying what was meant to be. So wicked and mean or aggressive is what I think the other person thinks of what I did. If that makes sense, follow me, right? So it defeats the whole purpose of standing up for yourself or of saying the truth. Because while you're trying to please, while you're trying to consider the other person's feeling, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want it to be I am being too difficult or overbearing or insufferable. You end up shooting yourself in the foot because you're avoiding conflict. You end up shooting yourself in the foot. I'm just I don't want this. I don't want to be absorbing all of these things or overthinking people's reactions or how it is making them feel, or maybe, oh my gosh, I just scattered this person's day or shattered this person's day. It should not be my business. Because when push comes to shove, and when it comes to my own area, people say things. And do you know what I say? I'm just like, oh, maybe this person was in a bad mood. Maybe they were going through it. And yes, I then blame myself. And yes, I really, really messed up. Oh, I always blame myself in every like interaction that went sour. I always, is it sour or sour? Well, I'm getting the pronunciation of SOUR. Any interaction of mine that ever goes like left, I always blame myself. And that's why I've come to the school of thought that whenever something happens, it's the two people involved in that conflict that play the role in it. It's never just one person, right? So it always beats my imagination why the other person cannot also see like how they play the role. Oh yeah, wait.
Sour.
Oh, sour. So anytime a relationship goes sour, I would always blame myself. Then my journey in life taught me that people would always play the victim and make you feel like the bad person. So I was like, you know what? I get it. Copy it. This empath thing, work for this part. So the only time I would ever try, I cannot go against my nature. I would always be an empath, but then I have to be in charge. Control the narrative, right? Control what is going on in my mind. I evaluate. Was I being honest? Was I being truthful? Did this person deserve this thing I said to them? If without any reasonable doubt, yes, it was. How they feel, how they didn't feel, what they think, what they didn't think should actually be none of my business. And I have to constantly remind my mind to, babes, you need to shut up. Shut up and go and do the work that you're meant to do. Empathy can then play a role in life, before you kind of like judge or accuse a person, ask them why they did what they did. Ask them what kind of like motivated them. You can listen to the episode where I spoke about always ask why, because I feel like with why you can get people's motivations. You can get what is the rationale, what is the logic behind why people do what they do. So you stopped talking to a person. Why did you stop talking to them? You prefer certain songs. Why do you prefer those kind of songs? You would always find stories in those moments when you ask why, right? When you ask why. So as an empath, while you're standing up for yourself, realize that there are things you can control and there are things you can control. And babes, the only thing you can control is saying the truth after you have evaluated, because I know that you would surely evaluate and try to see whether, this person deserves what you're about to say, because you want to make sure that you pet their emotions and their feelings. While you have done that, realize that what you cannot control is what they think of you now and how they see you or how they feel about you after you told the truth. So you do not get into the loop of pleasing people, okay? Because that's not a good place to be in. Then you shouldn't take it overboard to the extreme where you take away that empathy, because whether you like it or not, that is what makes you a better human. I believe in my work as a radio presenter and as a journalist, empathy is what has kept me in this job, because I'm not just seeing what I do, I am seeing how what I do affects people. It's almost like a ministry now. So it's not about what I say, but how does what I'm saying affect the other person that is listening to me, right? So it is a very big tool for you to succeed in the world, or for you to do extraordinary things in the world. So do not allow yourself to lose it, but then you should find a balance. Like my friend would say, he would always curate his energy. Realize or become aware that people would always try to use the fact that you are empathetic to step on you, because you will not say anything. You will just observe and hold in and find a way to sort yourself later, because you can handle yourself. So become aware that people can see that you are enduring them, one. Then curate your energy. Curate the energy you surround yourself with. Figure out who is worthy of this empathy, who is worthy of it, who doesn't deserve it. The people that do not deserve it are those people that would always show you shaggy, that will always like want to step on you. They want to know your limit. They want to always push you to the end. Those are the people to just totally avoid. Or those are the people to also show shege back. Because first to do, no do ever, they don't ever remember. Bottom line of what I'm saying today is empathy is a great skill or a great emotion to have. But it needs a balance. It needs something else to balance it out. And that is you being assertive. That is you being firm. And that is you being self-aware. So that you don't do it overboard, or you don't go to the extreme of where you lose your empathy totally and then start, unleashing fire or unleashing fury on people. Okay? Dear empath, I see you. And you're an amazing person. All of those stories you have been told, all of those energy you have, that have resided in your body and in your brain, they were not meant for you to, consume and absorb. But I hope you find a way to slowly release all of that. And also move into the world realizing that you are deserving and worthy of feeling and also speaking up for yourself. Okay? Remember that I am deeply rooting for you. Adios.